The woman who chose another man over her 3 children is bleeding on my doorstep at midnight, whispering 5 words that change everything. He knows where they live. I'm staring at her through the doorbell camera screen. The timestamp glows blue in the corner. 11:47 p.m., April 3rd. Exactly 1 year and 4 days since she walked out. The camera's fisheye lens stretches her face wide at the edges, makes her look distorted, almost unrecognizable. Rain streaks down like tears the lens is crying for her. But it's the blood on her collar that makes my hand freeze on the deadbolt, and the phone trembling in her other hand, screen lit with a single message I can just barely read. I'm watching. Across the street, my neighbor's porch light flicks on. Mrs. Chen, probably wondering who's knocking on doors at this hour. Great. Another witness to whatever catastrophe is about to unfold. I should walk away. I should go back upstairs to where my 3 kids are sleeping, check that their doors are locked, and pretend I never saw her face on that screen. That's what boundaries look like, right? That's what 12 months of therapy and a support group and learning to be both mother and father to 3 confused, angry, heartbroken children has taught me. But then I see the blood on her collar again, and I open the door. Please, her voice cracks on the word. Please, I know I don't deserve. Stop. I keep my voice low. The kids' bedrooms are upstairs. You don't get to tell me what you deserve. She's shaking. Not the dramatic kind of shaking people do in movies. The real kind. The kind that starts in your bones and works its way out. I've seen it before. On me, in the bathroom mirror, 3 days after she left. And I had to tell Emma her mother wasn't coming back for her 8th birthday. What are you running from? I ask. She looks over her shoulder. The street is empty except for Mrs. Chen's porch light. Can I come inside? Just for a minute. I'll explain everything. No. Please. Who's he? She closes her eyes. When she opens them, there's something in her face I haven't seen in years. Fear, real fear, the kind that doesn't negotiate. Marcus, she says, his name is Marcus Hale, and if you don't let me in right now, your children, our children, are in danger I can't even begin to explain. My hand is on the deadbolt. I'm thinking about the key she left behind on the kitchen counter 1 year ago. The key I've carried on my keychain every single day since, worn smooth on the edges from a year of my thumb rubbing over it like a prayer or a curse. Evidence, I told myself. Evidence that she was really gone, and now she wants back in. I hear it then. Footsteps on the stairs behind me. Small, hesitant footsteps that I know by heart. Then I saw my daughter's face appear at the top of the staircase. Emma stands there in her purple pajamas, the ones with the stars that glow in the dark. 8 years old, hair tangled from sleep, holding the stuffed rabbit I bought her the week after her mother left, after she stopped eating, after I found her crying in the closet with a birthday card she'd been waiting to give. Daddy? Her voice is small, sleep confused. Who's at the door? Before I can answer, before I can position my body to block the view, Emma's eyes find her. Find the woman standing in the rain. Find her mother. The silence that follows is the sound of a child world reorganizing itself. Mom? The word hits like a physical thing. I watch my ex-wife's face crumble. Watch her hand reach forward, then stop. Then fall back to her side like she knows she's lost the right to touch. Hi, baby, she whispers. Emma takes 1 step down the stairs, then stops. Her hand grips the railing so tight her knuckles go white. I've seen this grip before. It's the same way she holds on to me when the nightmares come, when she wakes up crying, asking why she wasn't good enough to make mommy stay. You said you'd come back for my birthday. Emma's voice isn't small anymore. It's sharp, precise. The way children sound when they've rehearsed a conversation 100 times in their heads. You said you'd be back. I waited. I kept your card on my nightstand for 107 days. Daddy said you'd come. Why didn't you come? I watch my ex-wife's face. Watch the grief move through it like weather. But I'm also watching Emma, my 8-year-old daughter who counts days like wounds, who kept a birthday card for 107 days, who's been carrying this question for a year. Emma, sweetheart, my birthday was September 12th, Emma continues, matter of fact. You missed it. You missed Christmas. You missed when I lost my tooth and when Jake made the soccer team and when Leo learned to ride his bike. Her voice cracks. You missed everything. My ex-wife is crying now, real tears mixing with the rain. I know I did, and I'm so... Are you here to stay? Emma asks. And this is the question that breaks me, because it's the question of a child who still has hope, who still believes that adults can be trusted to keep their promises if you just give them one more chance. Emma, I say, turning to face her, putting my body between her and the door. Go back to bed. We'll talk about this in the morning. But bed now. She looks at me, then at her mother, then back at me. And I watch something change in her eyes, something that looks like resignation, like she's learning what it means to lose the same person twice. She turns and walks back up the stairs. Doesn't run, doesn't slam any doors, just walks. And somehow that's worse. I turn back to my ex-wife. You have 20 minutes, then you leave. 20? Not negotiable. I step aside, let her in, walk to the kitchen and set the timer on the counter. The mechanical kind that tick-tick-ticks like a heartbeat. 20 minutes. 20 asas. I press start. She stands in my entryway, our entryway once, dripping rain onto the hardwood floor we picked out together 7 years ago. Her eyes move around the room like she's cataloging what's changed. The kids' artwork on the walls where wedding photos used to be. The basketball hoop hanging on the back of the door. The shoes lined up in 3 sizes by the stairs. The house looks good, she says. Don't. I just meant you don't get to make small talk. You don't get to comment on my house or my kids or the life you walked away from. You said they're in danger. You have 19 minutes to explain what that means. She sits at the kitchen table, the same table where, 1 year ago, she told me she was leaving, that she'd met someone who made her feel alive again, that she loved me but wasn't in love with me. All the cliches people use when they're rewriting history to make themselves the hero. I don't sit. I stand by the counter, arms crossed, the key in my pocket pressing against my thigh like a reminder. I made a mistake, she starts. 18 minutes. She flinches, takes a breath. Marcus? The man I left with? He's not who I thought he was. 17 minutes. Get to the part about my kids. She reaches into her jacket, pulls out a photograph, slides it across the table. I don't want to look, don't want to engage. But the timer is ticking, and my children are upstairs, and I need to know what we're dealing with. I pick up the photograph. It shows a man, mid-40s, expensive suit, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes, standing with 3 other men in front of what looks like a warehouse. The photo quality is grainy, taken from a distance, but clear enough. Clear enough to see the briefcase. Clear enough to see the handshake. Clear enough to see that this isn't a business lunch. Who is this? Marcus, with his, associates. She puts a strange emphasis on the word. He's not a real estate developer. He's a money launderer. And I didn't know, I swear I didn't know, until it was too late. The timer reads 15:30. I look at the photo again, then at her. Why are you telling me this? Because I helped him. Her voice breaks. Not on purpose, not at first. But he used our marital savings. He used the joint account I still had access to in those first few months. He transferred $47,000 through it. $47,000 that was supposed to be for Emma's braces and Jake's summer camp and Leo's future, and I let him because I thought he was investing it. I thought she had 19 minutes left when she pulled out the first photograph. Now she has 12, and I realize this isn't about her at all. $47,000. I say it slowly. Let each word land. You gave a criminal $47,000 of our children's money. I didn't know. You didn't ask. There's a difference. I'm gripping the edge of the counter now. Knuckles white, breath coming faster. That money was for Emma's orthodontist appointments, for Jake's soccer league, for Leo's college fund, and you gave it to a money launderer to wash. I know. God, I know, and I'm 11 minutes. She reaches into her jacket again, pulls out a small USB drive, black, unmarked. The kind of thing that looks ordinary until you know what's on it. She sets it on the table next to the photograph. What's that? Proof, encrypted files, bank statements, transaction records, shell companies, everything I could find before he realized I was looking. Her hands are shaking worse now. He knows I have this. He knows I've been copying files. And 3 days ago, he found out I was planning to leave, that I was going to turn him in. So you ran. I ran. She looks at me. And he said if I go to the police, if I testify, if I do anything to expose him, he'll make sure I'm not the only one who pays. He said, she pulls out her phone, hands it to me. There's a text message on the screen, timestamp 9:47 p.m., tonight, 2 hours ago. You talk, they suffer. I know where they live. I know where they go to school. I know Emma likes the swings. Jake plays left forward. Leo has that stuffed dinosaur. Don't test me. The timer reads 12 Yasto. I'm staring at the message, reading it again and again. Each sentence is specific, detailed. This isn't a generic threat. This is surveillance. He's been watching my children. Our children. Don't. I set the phone down. Don't you dare say our children like you've been part of their lives, like you didn't choose him over them, like you have any right. Behind me, I hear a sound, a small, sharp intake of breath. I turn. Jake is standing in the hallway, 12 years old, tall for his age, holding his phone. And from the look on his face, from the way the screen is glowing, I know he's been recording. Jake! I heard everything. His voice is steady, controlled. I recorded it, just in case. He looks at his mother, then at me. You taught me that evidence matters, Dad, so I got evidence. The timer hits 12 minutes when she says, he has your address, your kid's school schedule, and a reason to make sure I never testify. If you've ever had to choose between mercy and safety, between protecting your kids and your own compassion, just type I understand in the comments. You're not alone in that impossible math. I make Jake go back upstairs. Tell him to stay with Emma and Leo. Lock the door. Don't come out until I say. He argues, wants to help, wants to be the man he thinks he needs to be. But he's 12. He's still a child. And that's the whole point. After he leaves, I turn back to her. Why now? Why tonight? Because tonight he told me where your house is, gave me the address, said it like a reminder, like he was making sure I knew he wasn't bluffing. She's crying again. I didn't know what else to do. I know I don't have the right to ask you for anything. I know that. But they're my children too, and You lost that privilege when you left. I know. You don't get to show up a year later and claim motherhood because it's convenient, because you're scared, because you need something from me. I know. I'm pacing now, kitchen to living room and back, the key in my pocket, the timer ticking, the USB drive sitting on my table like a bomb. My phone is on the counter. I pick it up. What are you doing? Calling my lawyer. At midnight, this is what I pay her for. Sarah Chen picks up on the third ring. Voice alert. Professional. I've worked with her since the divorce. She handled custody, asset division, protected my kids when their mother decided they weren't worth staying for. Sarah, sorry to call so late. I need advice. Are the kids okay? For now? Maybe. I don't know. I look at my ex-wife. My ex-wife is in my house. She says her boyfriend is a money launderer, says he's threatening our kids. She has a USB drive with evidence. What do I do? Silence. Then, slow down, start from the beginning, I explain. The midnight knock, the threats, the $47,000, the surveillance of my children, Jake's recording, the USB drive. I speak in facts, in timelines, in evidence. It's the only way I know how to handle this without falling apart. When I finish, Sarah's voice goes cold, not angry, just professional cold. The sound of a lawyer calculating risk. If what she's saying is true, you need police. Tonight. Not morning. Tonight. Because if you wait, if anything happens, you're not just a bystander. You're an accessory to child endangerment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. Call 911, report the threats, get everything on record. The photo, the USB, the text message, Jake's recording, all of it. I'll meet you at the station if they take you in for questioning, but do not, and I mean do not, wait until morning. This isn't a custody issue. This isn't a divorce issue. This is criminal. I look at the timer. 6:47 remaining. Okay. And one more thing, Sarah says. If Marcus Hale is his real name, if he's as connected as she says, this gets complicated fast. You need to protect your kids first. Everything else is secondary. Understood? Understood. I hang up. Dial 911. Tell the dispatcher there's a credible threat against my children. Give my address. They say officers are en route, 7 to 10 minutes. I look at my ex-wife. Police are coming. You're going to tell them everything. You're going to show them everything. And when they ask why you waited a year to care about your children's safety, you better have a really good answer. She nods, doesn't argue, just sits there, wet and scared and small. The timer hits 0. Beeps. I turn it off. Your 20 minutes are up, I say. But you're not leaving, not until they get here. Not until we figure out how to keep my kids safe from the man you brought into our lives. The silence that follows is the sound of consequences arriving. Then we hear the sirens. 2 officers arrive, Rodriguez and Mills. Rodriguez is younger, maybe early 30s, empathetic eyes. Mills is older, skeptical, the kind who's heard every story and believes none of them. They stand in my living room, taking statements. Rodriguez writes everything down. Mills crosses his arms. So, let me get this straight, Mills says. Your ex-wife, who abandoned you and your 3 children a year ago, shows up tonight claiming her boyfriend is a criminal and threatening your family? That's correct. And you believe her? I look at him. I believe evidence. She has photographs, a USB drive, text messages. My son recorded her confession. Whether I believe her personally is irrelevant. Rodriguez looks up from his notebook. Can we see the evidence? I nod, spread it out on the coffee table. The photograph of Marcus with his associates, the USB drive, her phone with the text message. Jake's recording queued up on my phone. Rodriguez photographs everything with his phone. Mills picks up the printed photograph, studies it. You said the boyfriend's name is Marcus Hale? My ex-wife nods. Marcus Hale. He lives in the Riverside condos, Unit 847, drives a black Escalade. Mills sets down the photograph, looks at her, then at Rodriguez. Something passes between them, a look I don't like. Ma'am, Mills says slowly, do you know who you're accusing? I'm not accusing, I'm reporting facts. Marcus Hale. The Marcus Hale? I don't know if there are others. Mills closes his notebook. Marcus Hale is Senator Whitman's nephew. He's a real estate developer, legitimate business, well-connected. You're saying this man, this specific man, is laundering money and threatening children. And just like that, I understand. The skepticism, the careful phrasing, the look between the officers. We're not just dealing with a criminal. We're dealing with someone protected by the system. Officer Mills closed his notebook and said words that made my blood ice. Marcus Hale? The Marcus Hale? Ma'am, do you know who you're accusing? Yes, my ex-wife says. That Marcus Hale. Rodriguez shifts his weight, uncomfortable. Ma'am, we'll need to verify everything you're saying. These are serious allegations against a prominent... I don't care if he's the Pope's nephew, I interrupt. He threatened my children. That text message has specific details about their routines, their locations. That's not a coincidence. That's surveillance. Mills looks at me. Sir, we understand you're concerned, but we need to follow protocol. We'll file a report, document the evidence, forward it to the appropriate. The appropriate what? Department? Unit? How long does that take while my kids are targets? We'll have patrol units drive by your house tonight, Rodriguez offers. Increase visibility in the neighborhood. Patrol units, I repeated. Taste how useless it sounds. He knows where they go to school, where they play, what they carry, and you're offering drive-bys? Mills crosses his arms. Mr. Harrington, I understand you're upset, but until we verify the legitimacy of these claims, there's only so much we can do. We can't accuse a city councilman's relative of felony crimes based on this. He gestures at the evidence on my coffee table like it's garage sale junk. Then verify it. Tonight. It doesn't work that way. Then make it work that way. Rodriguez touches Mills's arm, steps forward. We'll file an official report. Reference number 2025-403-1147. We'll take copies of everything. The photographs, the text messages. We'll need the USB drive. No. My hand covers it. This stays with me until I can get it to someone who will actually do something with it. Mills's jaw tightens. Sir, that's evidence in a potential criminal. You just said you don't believe her. You can't have it both ways. Either it's evidence or it's a bitter ex-wife making things up. Which is it? The silence that follows is the sound of two officers realizing they're outmaneuvered. Rodriguez writes down the report number on a card, hands it to me. Keep your doors locked. Call if anything changes. We'll follow up in the morning. Morning? Yes, sir. First thing. They leave. Take photographs of the evidence, but not the evidence itself. My ex-wife's statement is now report Jarvis 2025-0403-1147. Official, documented, and completely useless for the next 6 hours. After they leave, I stand in my living room. It's 1:23 a.m. My kids are upstairs. A man who names shell companies after children knows where they sleep. And the police just told me to wait until morning. Not marriage issue, not custody issue, just survival. I go upstairs, check on the kids. Emma's light is still on under her door. Jake's too. Leo is the only one actually sleeping. Stuffed dinosaur clutched to his chest, oblivious to the danger that knows his name. I knock softly on Emma's door. Em, come in. She's sitting on her bed. The birthday card, the unopened one from last year, is in her hands. Pink envelope, slight water stain from tears. My tears, her tears, maybe both. She's never opened it. Never wanted to know what promises her mother wrote while planning to break them. Are we in danger? She asks. No preamble, no kid voice. Just the direct question of someone who's learned not to trust soft truths. I sit on the edge of her bed. I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out, and I'm going to keep you safe. Because of Mom? Because someone made bad choices, and now we have to deal with the consequences. She traces the edge of the envelope. Daddy, are we bad people if we don't help her? There it is again. The impossible question. The one I couldn't answer when she asked it 4 hours ago at the door. No, baby, we're not. Helping people doesn't mean letting them hurt us again. Compassion has boundaries, and right now, our boundary is keeping you and your brothers safe. But she's scared. Yes, she is. And she's still my mom. Yes, she is. I touch her hair. But being someone's mom isn't just biology. It's showing up. It's being there when it's hard, and she wasn't. So right now, I need you to trust that I'm making the best decisions I can with the information I have. Can you do that? Emma looks at me, 8 years old with 30-year-old eyes. Okay. I kiss her forehead. Try to sleep. Door locked. Call me if you hear anything weird. Dad? Yeah, I'm glad you kept the key. She points to my pocket. where the key is lived for 365 days. I saw it that day. When she left, you kept it. I thought maybe that meant you believed she'd come back. I kept it because I wanted to remember what it felt like to be left, I say honestly. So I'd never do that to you. She hugs me then, tight, the way she used to when she was smaller and thought I could fix everything. I hug her back. Wish I could fix this. Wish evidence and threats and police reports weren't part of her childhood vocabulary. When I leave her room, Jake is waiting in the hallway. I want to help, he says immediately. Jake, I'm 12. I'm not a baby, and I got evidence, real evidence. That's got to count for something. I look at my son, 12 years old, trying so hard to be the man he thinks I need him to be. But he's still got baby fat in his cheeks, still sleeps with a nightlight, still calls me when he has nightmares. It does count. What you did was smart, brave, but right now, what I need you to do is even harder. What? Stay with your siblings, be normal, Jake, play video games, make Leo laugh, help Emma with homework. Because if I'm dealing with lawyers and police and court, I need to know you three are okay, that you're still being kids. Can you do that? He wants to argue. I can see it, but he's also my son. He knows when I'm asking him to trust me. Okay, but if anything happens, you'll be the first to know. I promise. He goes back to his room. I check on Leo one more time. Still sleeping, still innocent, still holding that dinosaur like it's a talisman against the dark. I go back downstairs. My ex-wife is on the couch, hasn't moved. She looks up when I enter. Are they okay? They're processing, like everyone else. I'm sorry, I know that doesn't... You're right, it doesn't. I sit across from her. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to stay here tonight. Guest room, door locked from the outside. At 6 a.m., we're meeting my lawyer. You're going to tell her everything, give her everything, and then we're going to figure out how to protect my kids from the mess you brought to my door. Our kids. You keep saying that, but words are just words. It's actions that matter, and your actions for the past year have been abandonment. So until you prove otherwise, they're my kids, and you're a witness. Nothing more. She nods. Doesn't fight. Maybe she's finally learning what consequences feel like. I give her a pillow, a blanket, show her to the guest room, lock the door from the outside like I said. Then I go to my room, set my alarm for 5:30 a.m., lie in bed staring at the ceiling. Sleep doesn't come. Just the sound of the house settling, the memory of that text message. I know where they live, the weight of the key in my pants pocket on the chair. The knowledge that morning will bring either answers or more questions. At some point, I must sleep, because I dream. Emma asking me if we're bad people. Jake holding his phone like a weapon. Leo's drawing of a stick figure with a wrong smile. And through it all, the tick-tick-tick of a kitchen timer counting down to nothing. I wake at 5:17 a.m., 13 minutes before my alarm. The house is silent. I check the doorbell camera on my phone. No one on the street, no black Escalade, no shadows that don't belong. I make coffee, strong, check my email. Sarah sent a message at 4:47 a.m. Subject: custody plus, criminal or leverage. We go offensive at dawn. I open it. I've been researching Marcus Hale. Your ex-wife isn't lying. He's connected but not untouchable. I'm bringing in David Nguyen, forensic accountant. If there's money trail, he'll find it. Be at my office at 7 a.m. Bring everything. This isn't defense anymore. This is offense. We protect your kids by taking him down. Sarah. I read it twice. Let the words sink in. We go offensive at dawn. For the first time since the midnight knock, I feel something other than fear. I feel agency, strategy, the shift from victim to player. At 6 a.m., I unlock the guest room. My ex-wife is awake, sitting on the bed. Hasn't slept either by the look of her. We have an hour, I say. Get ready. Sarah Chen's office is downtown, glass and steel, the kind of building that charges by the minute. She meets us in the lobby at 6:58 a.m. Sharp black suit, hair pulled back, no small talk. Conference room, now. We follow her. The room has a long table, windows overlooking the city, and a man already seated, Asian, late 30s, laptop open, 3 monitors arranged around him like he's mission control. This is David Nguyen, Sarah says. Best forensic accountant in the state. If money moved, he'll find where it went and why. David doesn't shake hands, just nods. Looks at my ex-wife. You have the USB drive? She hands it over. He plugs it into his laptop. Starts typing. Code scrolls across the screen. Numbers, file names, encryption protocols. Password? Emma 2016, my ex-wife says quietly. I feel it like a punch. You used our daughter's birth year as a password? I thought it would be easy to remember. I didn't think... That's the problem. You didn't think. David keeps typing. The encryption is basic. Give me 10 minutes. Sarah sits, opens a legal pad, looks at my ex-wife. Start from the beginning. How did you meet Marcus Hale? When did you realize he was laundering money? Why did you wait a year to report it? My ex-wife tells her story. Same one she told me, different details. Met Marcus at a real estate seminar. He was charming, successful, made her feel seen. They started dating. She moved in, didn't realize until 3 months ago that the business trips were meetings with criminals. The investments were shell companies. The opportunities were money moving through fake accounts. And the $47,000? Sarah asks. He said it was an investment opportunity, a development project. He needed liquid capital quickly, said he'd double it in 6 months. She looks at me. I still had access to the joint account. I thought I was helping build our future, his and mine. You mean stealing my children's future, I correct. David looks up from his laptop. Got it. The USB has 247 files, bank statements, wire transfer records, emails, ledgers, shell company documents. He turns one of his monitors toward us. And unless I'm reading this wrong, one of these shell companies is called Emma Holdings, LLC. The room goes silent. Show me, I say. He clicks. A PDF fills the screen. Corporate registration documents, filed 8 months ago. Owner, Marcus Hale. Business address, a P.O. box in Delaware. Company name, Emma Holdings, LLC. Sarah leans forward. He named a shell company after your daughter. Why? I ask. Why would he do that? David scrolls through more files. Here, email from Marcus to an associate. He reads aloud. Using the kid's name adds legitimacy. Sounds like a family trust. No one questions family trusts. And if the ex-wife ever talks, it's her name on the account access logs. She goes down, not me. I'm staring at the screen, reading the words, understanding what they mean. He didn't just use my daughter's name, he used it as a trap, as insurance, to make sure if my ex-wife ever turned on him, she'd be the one implicated. That's not business, I say slowly. That's a threat. David looks at me. That's exactly what it is. He's been planning his exit strategy since the beginning. Your ex-wife was never a partner. She was a liability he was pre-blaming. Sarah starts writing. This changes everything. He's not just laundering money, he's setting up a patsy, using a minor's identity without consent. That's identity theft, fraud. And if we can prove he did it deliberately to frame her while threatening the child, she looks up. We have leverage. How much money are we talking about? I ask. David pulls up a spreadsheet. Numbers cascade down. Red, negative, transactions spanning 18 months. Best estimate, $280,000. Moved through 17 different accounts. Shell companies, offshore holdings, real estate purchases that don't exist. And this, he points to a highlighted cell. This is your $47,000. Right here, split into 4 transactions. Washed through Emma Holdings. Then moved to an account in the Caymans. $280,000. Not just my kid's college fund. $250,000 of other people's money. Stolen, laundered, hidden behind my 8-year-old daughter's name. David looked up from his laptop. He named a shell company after your daughter. That's not business. That's a threat. Type, stand ground if you do the same. Because what comes next requires choosing between peace and protection. Sarah stands, starts pacing. Okay, here's what we do. We file an emergency protective order, today, against Marcus Hale. We cite credible threats against minors. We attach the evidence, the text message, the shell company documents, the financial records. We argue that he's using the children's identities in the commission of crimes, which makes him an immediate danger. Will a judge grant it? I ask. If we present it right? Yes. We have documentation, we have text evidence, we have Jake's recording, and we have the fact that he named a company after a child he has no legal relationship with. That alone is enough to establish threat pattern. My ex-wife looks pale. When Marcus finds out, he'll know you're cooperating, Sarah finishes. Yes, which is why we need to move fast. File today, hearing tomorrow or the next day. Get the protective order in place before he can retaliate. And if he does retaliate, I ask, that's a separate criminal charge, violation of protective order. That's jail time, not just fines. Sarah sits back down. But we need your ex-wife to testify, everything she knows, every meeting, every transaction, every threat. She has to be willing to go on record. We all look at her. She's shaking again, that bone-deep tremor, fear and consequence meeting in real time. If I testify, he'll destroy me. He has lawyers, money, connections. I'll be the one who ends up, or you'll be the one who finally protected your children, I interrupt. You don't get to run this time. You don't get to choose safety over them again. This is your chance to be the mother they needed a year ago. Don't waste it. She closes her eyes, opens them. Okay, I'll testify. Sarah nods. Good. David, I need everything documented. Chain of custody for all evidence. Affidavit ready. Can you have it by noon? Already working on it. And I need you, Sarah looks at me. I need you to keep your kids safe. Don't send them to school until we have the protective order. Stay home. Doors locked. Trust no one. For how long? 48 hours, maybe 72. However long it takes to get in front of a judge. I think about Emma, Jake, Leo, trapped inside for 3 days, missing school, missing normal, all because their mother chose a criminal and I'm left cleaning up the mess. Fine, but I need you to contact their school, alert them to the threat, make sure no one, and I mean no one, can sign them out except me. Not their mother, not a grandparent, not a friendly stranger, just me. Already on my list, Sarah says. We'll send a formal letter this morning. School administrators take this seriously. I look at David. The USB drive. Can you make copies? I want backups, multiple backups. I'll encrypt 3 copies, 1 for Sarah, 1 for you, 1 for secure cloud storage. If anything happens to the original, we have fail-safes. Thank you. We spend the next 2 hours going through details. Sarah drafts the protective order petition. David creates a timeline of financial crimes with annotated evidence. My ex-wife writes her statement. Everything Marcus told her, every threat, every time he mentioned the kids. By 10 a.m., we have a case. By 11 a.m., Sarah files it electronically with the court. By noon, we're waiting for a response. How long until we hear back? I ask. Emergency petitions get priority. Could be hours, could be tomorrow. I'll call in favors, push it through as fast as possible. I check my phone. Text from the kid's school principal. Received your attorney's notice. School on lockdown protocol for E, J, and L Harrington. No release without your physical presence and ID verification. Security notified. Good. One less thing to worry about. Except they're not at school. They're home. With me. Wondering why their world keeps shrinking. I leave Sarah's office at 12:30. Drive home. My ex-wife is with me. Silent, processing. She has nowhere else to go. And until this is resolved, she's a material witness I can't let disappear. When I get home, Jake meets me at the door. Leo's been drawing, he says. You should see it. I go to the kitchen. Leo is at the table, crayons everywhere, and in front of him, a drawing. Stick figures, blocky. The way 5-year-olds draw, but detailed in ways that make my stomach drop. There's a school, a fence, and a man standing by the fence. He's drawn with a black crayon, heavy, pressed so hard the wax built up, and on his shirt, a letter, M. Buddy, I say, keeping my voice calm. Who's this? Leo doesn't look up, keeps coloring. The bad man. He smiles wrong. He asks my name 3 times. I pick up the drawing, look closer. The stick figure's mouth is a curved line, but there are little marks around it, attempts at teeth or shadows, something that makes the smile feel forced. When did you see him? By the fence, when Miss Katie picked us up. He finally looks at me, big eyes, scared eyes. He said he was a friend, that he knew Mommy. I didn't tell him anything, just my name. Was that bad? My 5-year-old has been carrying this fear, this knowledge that something was wrong, and he didn't tell anyone because he thought maybe he'd done something bad by talking to a stranger. No, buddy, you didn't do anything wrong. You did exactly right. I hug him, feel how small he is, how much trust he puts in adults to keep him safe. But from now on, if anyone asks you your name, you tell them to talk to a teacher first, okay? Okay. I take the drawing, pull out my phone, call the school, get transferred to Leo's teacher, Miss Katie. Miss Katie, this is Leo's dad. Did a man approach the fence during pickup last week? Silence. Then, oh my God, I meant to leave you a voicemail. Yes, 3 days ago. Wednesday. A man came up while I was getting the kids in line, said he was there to pick up Leo, said there was a family emergency. I asked for ID. He didn't have paperwork. I told him he couldn't take Leo without authorization. He left. 3 days ago, the same day Marcus sent the text message about knowing where they live. Can you describe him? Mid-40s, expensive clothes, drove a black SUV. Very friendly, almost too friendly. That's why I flagged it for security. She pauses. Did I do something wrong? No, you did everything right. Thank you. I hang up. Look at Leo's drawing. The M on the shirt. The smile that's wrong. My 5-year-old's artistic intuition caught what might be our best evidence. The teacher's voicemail confirmed my worst fear. A man matching that description tried to sign Leo out 3 days ago. I call Sarah. We have more evidence. Leo's teacher can testify Marcus Hale tried to abduct him from school 3 days ago. Are you serious? Dead serious. My 5-year-old drew it. His teacher documented it, and it matches the timeline of Marcus's threats. Send me everything. The drawing, the teacher's contact. This just became an attempted kidnapping case. I photograph Leo's drawing, send it, include the teacher's number, feel the case shifting from defensive to offensive, from us being victims to us having leverage. That's when my phone buzzes. Email from Sarah. Subject, emergency hearing scheduled. I open it. Judge Karen Whitmore, tomorrow, 2 p.m., protective order hearing. We present evidence. Marcus's attorney will be there. This is it. Don't miss it. Sarah, tomorrow, 26 hours from now. 1 day to prepare, 1 day to gather courage, 1 day to teach my children that the system can work if you have evidence and patience and luck. I go find Emma and Jake. They're in the living room, playing a board game with Leo, pretending normalcy. But I can see the tension in their shoulders, the way they keep glancing at the windows. Hey, family meeting. They gather on the couch. 3 kids, different ages, different fears. Same question in their eyes. When does this end? Tomorrow we go to court, I say. A judge is going to decide if the person who threatened you has to stay away from us. Sarah thinks we have a good case. But I need you 3 to understand something. What? Emma asks. This might get harder before it gets easier. When people are caught doing bad things, they sometimes get angry. They sometimes try to scare the people who caught them. But we're not going to be scared. We're going to be smart and safe and together. Is Mommy coming to court? Jake asks. Yes, she has to testify. Good, Emma says, surprising me. She should have to tell the truth. She should have to fix what she broke. Out of the mouths of 8-year-olds, truth harder than any adult would dare speak. That night, I make dinner, normal dinner, spaghetti and garlic bread. Leo tells a joke about dinosaurs. Jake shows me a video from his phone, not the recording, just a funny clip from school. Emma helps me with dishes. We pretend we're normal, but when I tuck them in, when I check their locks, when I set the doorbell camera to alert me every time it detects motion, I know we're not normal. Not yet. Maybe not ever again. But we're here, together. And tomorrow, we fight back. At 11 p.m., I get a text. Unknown number. Looking forward to seeing you in court. Bring your evidence. I'll bring my lawyers. M. I stare at the message, feel the threat behind it, the confidence, the assumption that money and power and connections trump truth. I screenshot it, send it to Sarah with 3 words, add to file. She responds immediately. He just gave us Exhibit F, intimidating a witness hours before court. Judges hate that. This is good for us. Good for us. Evidence is good for us. Documentation is good for us. Every mistake Marcus makes, every threat he sends, every time he underestimates what a father will do to protect his children, it's good for us. I lie in bed, touch the key in my pocket. Tomorrow, I'll give it back. Not as forgiveness, not as reconciliation, just as evidence. Evidence that the past is over, that we're moving forward, that mercy has boundaries, and mine are drawn in ink and sealed by a judge. The hearing was in 71 hours. Marcus would know about it in 3. But now it's in 15 hours, and he already knows. And we're ready. The courthouse is gray stone and glass, built to intimidate, to remind everyone who enters that justice is serious business. We arrive at 1:30 p.m., 30 minutes early. Sarah says it shows respect, preparation. That judges notice who arrives first. The hallway outside courtroom 4B smells like floor polish and anxiety. Other families wait on benches, custody cases, restraining orders, the aftermath of relationships that couldn't survive their own weight. My kids sit beside me, Emma in her blue dress, the one she wore to her school concert, Jake in his button-down shirt, hair combed, looking older than 12, Leo in khakis and his dinosaur shirt because I told him he could wear the dinosaur if he wore the nice pants. Small compromises to make hard days bearable. My ex-wife sits 3 seats away, not part of our family unit, not separate either, somewhere in between, a witness to her own mistakes. At 1:47 p.m., the doors open. A bailiff calls, Case FM 2025-08841, Harrington versus Hale, Emergency Protective Order. We stand, file in. The courtroom is smaller than I expected. No jury box, just the judge's bench. 2 tables for attorneys, gallery seating for maybe 30 people. But the ceiling is high, vaulted, like the weight of judgment needs room to settle. Judge Karen Whitmore enters, late 50s, gray hair pulled into a bun, reading glasses on a chain. She sits, arranges papers, looks up with the kind of eyes that have heard every excuse and believe none of them. This is an emergency petition for a protective order, she begins. I've reviewed the initial filing. Ms. Chen, you're representing the petitioner? Sarah stands. Yes, Your Honor. My client is seeking a 5-year protective order against Marcus Hale on behalf of his 3 minor children, Emma, Jacob, and Leo Harrington, ages 8, 12, and 5. Mr. Hale is represented by... A man stands at the other table, 60-something, expensive suit, silver hair, the kind of lawyer you hire when you need to make problems disappear. Leonard Ashford, Your Honor, representing Mr. Hale. Judge Whitmore looks around. Is Mr. Hale present? He is, Your Honor. And that's when I see him, Marcus Hale, sitting in the front row of the gallery, mid-40s, tailored suit, calm expression. The kind of man who's never been told no, never been held accountable, never believed consequences could touch him. He looks at me, smiles, not threatening, friendly, like we're meeting at a cocktail party instead of a courtroom where his freedom is on the line. I feel Jake tense beside me. I put my hand on his shoulder. Steady. We discuss this. No outbursts, no reactions. Let the evidence speak. Judge Whitmore adjusts her glasses. Ms. Chen, present your case. Sarah stands, opens her folder. Your Honor, we're here because Marcus Hale has engaged in a pattern of threatening behavior toward 3 innocent children. We have documentation, recordings, eyewitness testimony, and evidence that Mr. Hale not only threatened these children, but attempted to use their identities in the commission of financial crimes. Ashford stands. Your Honor, my client categorically denies these allegations. This is a bitter custody dispute. The petitioner's ex-wife has fabricated. I'll hear the evidence before ruling on credibility, Judge Whitmore interrupts. Ms. Chen, proceed. Sarah nods to David Nguyen, who's sitting behind her with his laptop. Your Honor, I'd like to enter Exhibit A, a drawing created by Leo Harrington, age 5, depicting a man who approached him at his elementary school 3 days before this petition was filed. She hands the drawing to the bailiff. He passes it to the judge. Judge Whitmore studies it. The stick figure, the heavy black M, the wrong smile. This is a child's drawing, she says. Yes, Your Honor, and we have corroborating testimony from Leo's teacher, Miss Katie Reynolds, who documented a man matching Mr. Hale's description attempting to sign Leo out of school without authorization on April 1st. Ashford stands again. Objection. This is hearsay. The teacher isn't present too. She's in the hallway, Sarah says, available to testify if needed. Judge Whitmore makes a note. Continue. Sarah presents Exhibit B, the bank statements, the wire transfers, $47,000 taken from the joint marital account. Then Exhibit C, the USB drive contents, shell company registrations. And there, highlighted in yellow, Emma Holdings, LLC. Your Honor, Marcus Hale created a shell company using the name of an 8-year-old girl he has no legal relationship with. This company was used to launder $280,000. The petitioner's daughter's name, Emma, was used without her knowledge or consent to commit federal financial crimes. Ashford is on his feet. Your Honor, my client is a legitimate real estate developer. The name Emma Holdings is a coincidence. There are thousands of people named Emma. With the birth year 2016 in the company documents, Sarah counters. The exact year Emma Harrington was born. That's not coincidence, Your Honor. That's deliberate. Judge Whitmore looks at Marcus, then at the documents. Mr. Ashford, does your client have an explanation for why this specific company bears the name and birth year of the petitioner's daughter? Ashford confers with Marcus in whispered tones. Then, my client maintains this is coincidence. He was unaware of the child's name. He was in a relationship with the child's mother for a year, Sarah responds. He knew the children's names, their schedules, their schools. In fact, Exhibit D. She hands over the text message, the one sent to my ex-wife's phone. I know Emma likes the swings. Jake plays left forward. Leo has that stuffed dinosaur. Judge Whitmore reads it. Her expression doesn't change, but something flickers in her eyes. Judges are practiced at neutrality, but this is different. This is specific knowledge wielded as a weapon. These are very detailed threats, she observes. Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Hale wasn't making vague claims. He was demonstrating surveillance. He knows intimate details about children who are not related to him, children he has no legal right to access, and he used that knowledge to threaten their mother into silence. Objection! Ashford's voice is sharp now. This is inflammatory rhetoric. My client sent a text message. That's not Exhibit E, Sarah says. She nods to David, who connects a small speaker to his laptop. Audio recording. captured by the petitioner's ex-wife, legal under single-party consent laws. This was recorded 6 days ago. There's a click, a hiss of static. Then Marcus Hale's voice fills the courtroom. Lower than I expected, calm, almost friendly. You're thinking about leaving, I can tell. But let me remind you of something. Your kids, Emma, Jake, Leo, they're leverage. Not mine, yours. You talk to police, you testify, you do anything stupid. They suffer. Not you, them. And their father, he doesn't even know you helped me set up the accounts. Doesn't know you signed documents. Doesn't know you're complicit. So think carefully about your next move. The recording ends. Silence fills the courtroom, the kind that has weight, that presses down on everyone present. Judge Whitmore removes her glasses. Mr. Ashford, that's your client's voice? Ashford looks at Marcus. Marcus nods slightly. It appears to be, Your Honor, but context? The context is a man threatening children, Judge Whitmore says. Explicitly, by name, with acknowledgement of criminal conspiracy. Ms. Chen, do you have more? One more exhibit, Your Honor. But I'd like to note that the petitioner's 12-year-old son, Jacob, has requested permission to address the court. He has relevant testimony. Judge Whitmore looks at Jake, sees a kid trying to be brave. Young man, you understand you be speaking under oath? Jake stands. Yes, ma'am. And your father hasn't coached you on what to say? No, ma'am. I just want to tell the truth. She considers this. Mr. Ashford, objection to minor testimony. Ashford is sweating now. The case is slipping. Your Honor, this is highly irregular, but not prohibited. The child has relevant information. I'll allow it. She gestures to the witness stand. Jacob, come forward. Jake walks to the stand. The bailiff administers the oath. Jake's voice is steady when he says, I do. Sarah approaches. Jake, can you tell the court what you witnessed on the night of April 3rd? My biological mom, came to our house at midnight. She was scared. She told my dad that a man named Marcus was threatening us. I was upstairs. I heard everything, so I recorded it on my phone. Why did you do that? Because my dad always says evidence matters. That truth matters. And I thought, if something bad happened, we'd need proof. Judge Whitmore leans forward. You recorded the conversation, the one that took place in your home. Yes, ma'am, I have it here. He pulls out his phone, hands it to the bailiff. Sarah takes the phone. Your Honor, I'd like to play a 30-second excerpt. Jake's recording corroborates everything the petitioner's ex-wife testified. The recording plays. My voice. Her voice. The $47,000. The threats. The shell company. All of it captured by a 12-year-old who understood what adults sometimes miss. Documentation is power. When it ends, Ashford stands. Your Honor, this is a custody ploy. The petitioner is using his children to... And that's when Jake's voice cuts through, clear, angry, real. He's lying! The courtroom goes silent. Judge Whitmore looks at Jake. Excuse me? Mr. Ashford, he's lying. This isn't about custody. My mom left us a year ago. We're fine without her. This is about a man who came to my brother's school, who threatened my family, who thinks he can scare us into silence. Jake looks directly at Marcus. I saw you at the school fence 3 days before you sent that text message. I took a video. Marcus's expression changes, just slightly. The confidence cracks. Ashford's voice is sharp. Your Honor, this child is being manipulated. I have the video on my phone, Jake says. Time-stamped, April 1st, 3:15 p.m. Do you want to see it? Judge Whitmore looks at Marcus, then at Ashford, then at Jake. Yes, I do. Sarah approaches the bench with Jake's phone, pulls up the video, hands the phone to the judge. We all watch her face as she watches the screen. 12 seconds. That's all it is. But 12 seconds is enough. She looks up, looks at Marcus. Sir, Do you own a black Escalade, license plate ending in 477? Marcus shifts in his seat. Yes, but that doesn't... The vehicle in this video matches that description, and the timestamp places you at Riverside Elementary on April 1st at 3:15 p.m., the same day Leo's teacher documented an attempted unauthorized pickup, the same day you sent threatening text messages referencing the children's specific routines. Judge Whitmore sets down Jake's phone. Mr. Ashford, does your client have an explanation? Ashford is scrambling now. Your Honor, my client was in the area for business, at an elementary school. He maintains this is coincidence. Coincidence. Judge Whitmore repeats the word, tastes it, rejects it. A shell company with a child's name, text messages with specific threats, a recorded conversation threatening children as leverage, an attempted school pickup, video evidence placing him at the scene, and his only defense is coincidence. She looks at Marcus. Sir, stand up. Marcus stands, still trying to maintain composure, still believing his lawyers and money and connections will save him. I've been on this bench for 14 years, Judge Whitmore says. I've heard every excuse, every justification, every attempt to minimize harm. But what I've heard today isn't a family dispute. It's a criminal enterprise using children as collateral damage. You didn't just threaten these kids. You tried to weaponize their identities. You attempted to access them physically. And you did it with calculated precision. She turns to the bailiff. Motion for protective order is granted. 5-year duration. Mr. Hale is prohibited from any contact, direct or indirect, with Emma, Jacob, and Leo Harrington. No phone, no email, no third-party communication. Violation will result in immediate arrest. She bangs her gavel, but she's not done. And one more thing. I'm forwarding this case file to the district attorney. The evidence presented suggests money laundering, identity theft, attempted child abduction, and witness intimidation. Mr. Hale, I suggest you retain a criminal defense attorney. You're going to need one. She bangs the gavel again. We're adjourned. Jake's voice cut through from the gallery. He's lying. Would you trust the system? After everything you've seen, after all the times it fails people, would you still believe that truth can win? If you've made it this far, you're the kind of person who believes in justice, even when it's hard-won. Share this story with someone who needs to hear that truth wins. Not always fast, but it wins. The courtroom erupts, not chaos, just movement, release. People standing, Ashford arguing with the bailiff, Marcus being escorted out by security, his calm mask finally cracking into anger. I look at my kids. Emma is crying, not sad crying, relief crying, the kind that comes when pressure finally breaks. Jake is standing tall, shoulders back, looking like he just won a war. Leo is confused but smiling because everyone else is smiling. Sarah squeezes my shoulder. We did it. 5 years, and the DA's office will bury him. What happens now? Now, you take your kids home. You live your life. And Marcus Hale learns that power has limits when you're stupid enough to document your crimes. I nod, can't quite speak. The emotion is too close to the surface. We leave the courtroom. Outside, in the hallway, my ex-wife is sitting on a bench, alone, waiting. I walk over. The kids hang back with Sarah. Thank you, she says, for letting me testify, for protecting them even though I didn't deserve. You're right, you didn't deserve it, but they deserve the truth, and you gave them that, so thank you. She nods, wipes her eyes. What happens now with us? There is no us. There's you, and there's me, and there's 3 kids trying to figure out how to trust adults again. You want a relationship with them? You earn it. One day at a time. Therapy, consistency, showing up, not for me, for them. Can I call them? I think about this, about boundaries and healing and The fact that Emma still has that unopened birthday card, that Leo drew his fear because he didn't know how to speak it, that Jake recorded conversations because he knew adults lie. Once a week, Sunday evenings, 7 p.m., supervised video calls for the first 3 months. After that, we'll see. But you miss one, you're late to one, you done. Understood? Understood. I reach into my pocket, pull out the key, the brass key worn smooth from a year of carrying. I hand it to her. She looks at it, confused. What's this? Evidence of the past, not the future. You left it when you walked away. I carried it to remember what abandonment feels like. Now I'm giving it back because I don't need to remember anymore. I know. She takes the key, holds it like it might break. I'm sorry. I know I've said it before, but words are easy. Actions are what matter. Be the mother they need now. That's the only apology that counts. I walk away. Back to my kids. Sarah has already left, promised to email the court order by end of day. The hallway is emptying, other families dealing with their own broken pieces. Emma looks up at me. Is it really over? The scary part, yes. The healing part, that takes longer. Good, she says. I'm ready to heal. 6 months later. Emma's 9th birthday. September 12th. We're having a party at the house. Nothing big. 10 kids from school, pizza, cake, the trampoline in the backyard that I bought 3 months ago, when I realized we were finally allowed to be happy again. Leo is outside with his friends. Jake is manning the pizza table, being the cool older brother, playing referee when the 5-year-olds argue about whose turn it is on the trampoline. Emma is in the living room, opening presents, laughing, looking lighter than she has in 2 years. The doorbell rings. I check the camera, force of habit, even though Marcus Hale is serving 18 months for money laundering and facing additional charges, even though the protective order is ironclad, even though we're safe. It's not Marcus. It's my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, with a present wrapped in purple paper. I open the door, accept the gift, thank her. She waves, heads back across the street, where her porch light once witnessed the worst night of our lives. I bring the present to Emma. She adds it to the pile, then looks at me. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. Mom called yesterday. She asked if she could not come to the party. She knows that would be weird, but she asked if she could drop off a present, just at the door, not stay, not come in, just leave it. Emma watches my face. I told her I'd ask you. I sit down next to her. What do you want? I don't know. Part of me wants to say no, to punish her, but another part, she trails off. Dad, is it okay to still love someone who hurt you? Yes, love isn't a switch. It's complicated, messy. But Emma, here's what matters. You get to decide. Not me, not your brothers, you. What does your heart say? She thinks about this. 8-year-old wisdom in a 9-year-old body. My heart says, maybe she can drop off a present, but I don't want to see her yet. Is that mean? No, baby, that's boundaries. That's you deciding what you need to feel safe, and I'm proud of you for knowing the difference. Okay, then yes, she can drop it off, but just at the door. I'll let her know. Later, after the party, after the kids go to bed, I'm cleaning up when I notice something on the fridge, held up by a magnet shaped like a star. A drawing, Emma's drawing, new, recent, 4 stick figures under a bright yellow sun. No 5th figure standing apart. No ghost of a missing mother. Just 4 people, different sizes, holding hands, smiling. At the bottom, in Emma's careful handwriting, my family. We're not broken, we're just different. I take a photo of it, send it to Sarah with a simple message. Evidence of healing, she responds. Best kind of evidence there is. I pin the drawing back on the fridge, right next to the signed protective order. Not because I need the reminder, but because they tell a story together. Where we were, where we are, where we're going. The key is gone, given back. Evidence filed away. But the kids are here, safe, Learning that family isn't always biology. That love can have boundaries, that you don't abandon people who show up for you. We don't abandon. We don't abandon safety. We don't abandon boundaries. We don't abandon love, but we also don't abandon ourselves. I turn off the lights, check the locks one last time, not from fear, just habit, good habit. Upstairs, 3 doors are closed, 3 kids are sleeping, 3 futures are unfolding, and tomorrow we'll wake up and do it again. Not perfectly, not without scars, but together. That's enough. That's everything. That's family. Emma's new picture has 4 stick figures under a yellow sun. This is our family now, Daddy. We're not broken. We're just different. She's right. If you have a found family story, blood or chosen, the people who stayed when others left, the ones who showed up when it mattered, share it below. I read everyone. And your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Because the best families aren't always the ones we're born into, they're the ones we build together when it matters most.